Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to tell you a story. It's not a story actually, it's an event which happened almost 30 years before, in 1991, when I was a student of 12th standard. One day I planned to go to my village. My village is some 65 kilometers from the city, where we would usually go in summer days or some occasions when we were invited to participate in a marriage or in a puja, some similar events. Till 8th standard, we were regularly going our village in summer vacations, provided there was an opportunity, there was a marriage or something like that. After 8th standard, we were busy in more serious studies, and my father was transferred to some other city. So we remained in the same city in order to maintain the regular studies without any interruption of shifting from one school to other. So for almost 3 years, 3 summers passed, 3 long summers passed without going to village. In 12th standard, we all had pressure of clearing some entrance exam. So I too had similar pressure. After my 12th standard exams and appearing in that PET, it was called pre-engineering test of a state level. It was an state level exam. I had some 7 days left before it started July. As the academic session starts with July, so I had some 7 days left, and my mother sent me village. It was possibly the first time I went village alone, and when I reached village, there was no relative to welcome me at the bus stand. The bus station was about 1.5 kilometers from my village, and there was a river, and that time there was no bridge, and the bus reached quite late. It reached the station at 9 o'clock. In summer days, 9 o'clock is though a bit late for a village culture, but in summer days it is tolerable. So when I reached the station, I was possibly the last passenger in the bus, because it was the last station of the bus also. I found no relative there to welcome me, but a servant whose name was Bulbul, he was there. An old man in his 60s with a properly built up body, almost no clocks in the upper trunk, but with a dhoti that was clad tightly and that started with vest and closed before the knees. It was night. He was black, but I could easily identify him because of his white dhoti. He approached me. I saw him. He welcomed me, and without any long greeting or much exchange of welcome, he took my bag and he started walking. I followed him till the river, and then he cried for the boatsman. The boatsman had stopped its ferry, but when he listened us, he started the boat, sailed it across towards us. We got into the boat and we crossed the river. Then another half mile we walked, and he left me at my place. My grandfather's brother was there. My father's aunt was there, my grandmother. So they were waiting for me. I had dinner, and I had almost forgotten the servant. I didn't even thank him because that is not part of the culture. He gave me the bag, and I don't know when he left the place. He just automatically, means mechanically, he left the bag, and without much more ado, he went to his place. After 4 or 5 days, when I was supposed to return, I was to catch the same bus early in the morning. My servant Bulbul was asked to drop me back at station. He came without any exchange of words. He took my bag, put it on his shoulders, and walked. When I reached the station, the bus had yet not come. Bulbul waited for a while, and then, as a token of thanks, or possibly in order to compensate the wages, I handed him 10 rupees. In 91, 10 rupees was not a very small amount for me, because I had barely 100 rupees in my pocket, and it was also a big amount for him. But with almost no interest, he took the money and some were inserted in his dhoti. And then he said, "Your father never addressed me with my name. He was a servant. And he took my father's name without any proper address to him. My father was the eldest son of the family. So everybody addressed him Dada. Somebody addressed him Bhaiya. And some elderly people addressed him Dadu. These are the common names for a eldest boy in the family. Nobody addresses the eldest son of the family with name. It's barely sometimes the parents and people of the parental status. But when my servant Bulbul said, "Your father never addressed me with name Bulbul," I was shocked at his mannerlessness. When I reached my place, my city, on some other day, during a common conversation, I talked to my father. I said, "Bulbul was saying this thing." My father said, "What?" I said, Bulbul took your name. He addressed you with name. He said, "Your father never addressed me with my name." And he himself was addressing you with name. He was not addressing you with some more respectful title. My father said, "What did you say just now?" I said, "Bulbul." He said, you address him Bulbul. But I always addressed him Kaka. Kaka in my locality means uncle, or a brother like of my father. My father said, "No, I never addressed him Bulbul." Yeah, he's correct. I always addressed him Kaka. So with that relationship, you should have addressed him Dada. He's your Dadaji. I could not adjust it. That how can be an elderly servant, he was only a servant, be equated with my grandfather? My grandfather, such a high-notch person, he was a class 1 officer with government of Madhya Pradesh. He was heading many departments. He had been chairman to some state level committees. So sir, my servant is equal to my grandfather. I am supposed to address my servant Dada, Baba. This all queries I had in my mind, I didn't say anything. Then my father explained that servant had been in the family for almost 60-70 years. Before his birth, his father was there. And he is part of our family. And in villages, we don't address even anybody without any relationship. We have a relationship of being in a village, being a village mate. In that relationship, you should address him. Then he gave me many examples when he addressed people of other caste and other families, regardless of their financial or economical or social status, with some relationships. He said that how he would address somebody, Poopaji, Poopa, only because he was married to a girl of his village. And the girl was one of the daughters of some servant. But because of that kinship of emotions, she was sisterly to my grandfather. So with that relationship, my father addressed that lady Bua, and obviously her husband Poopa. Regardless of the caste, regardless of the creed or social status. I was really enlightened and convinced. So I thought next time when I go my village, I will address Bulbul as Baba. Baba means grandfather in my locality. It took another 3-4 years for me when I reached village back. And I inquired about Bulbul and I wanted to meet him, rather apologize him for my mistake, and wanted to compensate addressing him Dada. But I came to know that Bulbul left the world. Till today, I feel a sort of vacancy, and I regret if I could have addressed that old man as Baba or Dada. What I mean to say that this is the lifespan of our Indian culture, where we don't address people with Mr. X, Mr. Y. We are trained, we are culturally groomed up to address people with some relationships. Thank you very much.